The world can be an incredibly nasty place, and the women we have on our list today only prove this fact. Now, these women, they didn't just break hearts, they crushed skulls, signed insurance claims, and turned poison into a secret ingredient, quite literally. These are the stories of women who killed and got away with more than just charm, for a while at least. Number 10. Martha M. Place, Death by Electricity. Martha M. Place didn't just etch her name in history, she quite literally fried her name into it. In 1899, this mild-mannered New Yorker became the first woman ever to die by electric chair. For what? You might wonder? Well, for the murder of her stepdaughter. And why would she commit such an act? Let's just say that blending a dysfunctional family with a stepdaughter's teenage attitude was this cruel woman's recipe for murder, or at least her horrendous justification for it. But wait, Martha's claim to fame wasn't just through her crime, but also through her almost unshakable reputation as a person who constantly had to ruin things for others. Sadistic much? Can't say the signs weren't there. She was someone who somehow outlived her usefulness to society. While the jury had no patience to hear her made-up sob story, Sing Sing's executioners ensured her legacy sizzled on. Much deserved. There's also a lesson that we could take home from this. Step-parenting can be fatal, especially when you're the one holding the axe. Number 9, we have Delphine LaLaurie, Southern hospitality gone mad. What happens when privilege and sadism shack up? You get Delphine LaLaurie, the ultimate Southern belle, absolute nutjob. In her New Orleans mansion, she didn't just host high society parties and have fun, she also took out time to torture and murder slaves. I mean, imagine hosting a grand tea party upstairs while mutilated bodies rot in the basement. Some multitasker she was. For long enough, no one ever bothered to doubt her, not even once, considering the fact that she was such an experienced and charming host. But karma just had to get someone as evil as her now, shouldn't it? Though she may have thought that she had gotten away with all her evil plans, one fire was all it took to uncover all the horrors that took place within her house. Mob justice tore the mansion apart, while Delphine made a run for it. Sadly, her escape kinda proved that even karma takes holidays. She escaped all the way to Paris, and also escaped her deserving punishment. Sadly, one could never really make her pay for all the horrible things she had caused those poor innocent human beings. Ironically, she fled with a slave. Ah, the rich. Their audacity really knows no bounds sometimes. Number 8. Gesha Godfrey, Bremen's Angel of Death. Gesha Godfrey didn't just serve breakfast, she served it with a dash of arsenic. It's surprising how evil some minds could be. The harm she had done was not to strangers, but to her very own family. This 18th century German widow poisoned her way through her family tree, and then some others too. Her victims included her parents, 3 children, and 2 husbands. Gesha made sure that every death came with a side of dramatic weeping, earning her the nickname Angel of Bremen, more aptly the Wicked Witch of Bremen. Let's thank her noisy neighbor for finding arsenic in a salad, which led to putting an end to her evil schemes. How? She was very justly gifted a public execution that drew crowds hungrier for justice than her victims were for her poisoned food. Number 7. Belle Gunness, Love You to Death. Next up we have Belle Gunness, the OG Black Widow. Born in Norway, Belle came to America with big dreams, as you can see, and an even bigger appetite. Appetite for what? Only to become one of the biggest insurance frauds. Her first husband conveniently died after a candy shop fire. Sus. The second, let's say his accident, involved a meat grinder and boiling water. Her Indiana farm was turned into a whole suitor graveyard, as lonely men lured by her personal ads disappeared faster than Belle's conscience. When her house mysteriously burned down, officials found dozens of bodies, but unfortunately, not Belle's head. Did she escape? Probably, but not before proving that love really does hurt, especially when you're worth a hefty insurance payout. Number 6. Karla Homolka, the Devil's Bride. Karla Homolka played the role of a wonderful loving wife, only to a sadistic rapist and murderer. In the early 90s, she and her husband, Paul Bernardo, became Canada's biggest nightmares, and that, my friends, is only an understatement to the crimes they caused. Together, they kidnapped, tortured, and killed at least 3 young girls. There was no one in the area that could play the poor manipulated wife card as well as Homolka to perfection. But when the tape surfaced showing her full participation, the press dubbed her plea bargain a deal with the devil. While she served a mere 12 years, the public was absolutely furious. Karla, now free, lives in anonymity. likely haunting her neighbors' nightmares. It's infuriating how many of these criminal killers just run free after all the damage they cause. Number 5. Eileen Wuornos, Highway of Horror. Eileen Wuornos didn't care for the word subtle. This Florida prostitute turned herself into a vicious serial killer and even shot 7 men just between the years of 1989 and 1990. Her victims weren't just unlucky clients, they were targets of her pent-up rage after years of abuse. This means all the pain inflicted on her by assault and abuse was taken out on these men who weren't to blame. Eileen's lack of repentance in the court is what made her a media sensation. "I killed them," she said, "and I'd do it again." Her chilling admission landed her a death sentence, but Eileen remained rebellious. We could say that justice caught up with her in 2002 when she was executed by lethal injection. But then again, with the number of deaths caused by the woman, she deserved to die multiple times, not just once. Number 4. Amelia Dyer, Victorian baby killer. Babysitter? More like baby killer. In Victorian England, Dyer ran a baby farm for unwanted infants. She tricked parents into paying her, promising that she would take care of their children. And what a convincing job she did at that, because none of them had any clue of the other horrendous plans she had for them. Instead of providing love, care, and affection, she starved, strangled, and drowned the children while also cruelly and shamelessly pocketing the fees paid by their unfortunate parents. Her crime spree spanned decades until the body of an infant was fished out of the Thames, tied with her signature tape. At her trial, Amelia claimed she was insane, but the jury begged to differ. She swung from the gallows in 1896, a less fitting end for a career that redefined childcare horrors, don't you think? She deserves to rot in hell. Number 3. Tilly Klimek, the Death Whisperer. Timmy Klimek had a gift. Yes, a gift. One where she could predict death. Conveniently, those predictions only came true for her unlucky husbands, relatives, and neighbors. This Polish-American psychic didn't need a crystal ball. Once again, we meet Sweet Arsenic, which was her tool of choice. Neighbors thought that she was cursed, but Tilly was just good at cleaning house. Well, quite literally. When the authorities finally caught on to her horrific acts, they found a trail of poisoned victims and a pet. She didn't even spare her dog's life. Her arrest ended her psychic streak, but the moral of the story lives on. Beware of anyone who predicts your untimely death. Jolly Jane Toppin, Death by Care. Jane Toppin didn't get her nickname Jolly Jane from her bedside manners, unless you count poisoning 31 patients as cheerful. This nurse turned serial killer treated her patients to a wonderfully crafted cocktail of morphine and atropine, just to sadistically watch them die. Jane's confession? She wanted to have her own fun with her victims before they passed. Talk about zero remorse. That's right, her homicidal spree was nothing harmful according to her. It was just her version of amusing. Arrested in 1901, Jane was declared insane and spent the rest of her life in an asylum. Her legacy? A little reminder about how we shouldn't even trust overly happy healthcare professionals. A little caution is due everywhere we go. And at number 1, we have Judy Buenoano, Insurance and Explosions. I mean, what is it with these female serial killers and insurance? Here's another example of that. Judy Buenoano didn't let traditional widowhood stop her. She killed her husband, son, and fiancé, all for insurance money. Her method of action? Trying to blow up her fiancé's car. When investigators started connecting the dots, Judy's trail of arsenic, drowning, and fire became impossible to ignore. Her nickname, the Black Widow, was quite fitting, we must say. Judy's charm masked a ruthless streak that landed her on death row. She was executed in Florida's electric chair in 1998, taking her twisted secrets with her. These women didn't just defy societal expectations, they completely shattered them. With, well, arsenic, firearms, and insurance claims, of course. This reminds us that killers come in all forms, and sometimes the deadliest smile could even be hiding some of the sharpest blades. And with that, we've come to an end of our video. If this hadn't spooked you enough already, then don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and click on the tiny bell icon on the side to stay notified and updated on all of our upcoming content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.